Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon again, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Spilly Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels. We'll go back to that horrible world known as the JRC. But before we do, the disclaimers, and yes, I'm still sitting on the floor because computer needs to charge, and I need to get these videos done. All right. If you are unfamiliar with the Stop the Shocks campaign or the campaign against the troubled teen industry, you're going to find all the pertinent links right there in the description box. Please, in particular, take note of the article written by NeuroClastic, a small non for profit started by autistics for autistics. In it, they interviewed over 800 ABA professionals in regards to the JRC so called behavior modification program. The Judge Rotenberg Educational Center doesn't want you to read that article so much. They threatened NeuroClastic with a defamation lawsuit if they did not remove it from the website. NeuroClastic refused. You know the drill. Please read the article. Share on all your social media. Also included is NeuroClastic's public statement in regards to the defamation lawsuit threat, as well as a link to their GoFundMe. We are crowdfunding just in case the JRC ever actually does see through with their threat. Trigger warning 1. When we discuss places like the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center or Agape Boarding School for Boys, you're going to hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips or surveillance footage of people with mental health issues and disabled people being tortured and abused. If you got young children present, please make sure to utilize your headphones. Trigger warning 2. This channel is marked not for kids for a reason. We use profanity on occasion and speak on dark subjects. If your child is 16 and younger and they are watching this, very obviously parental supervision is very much advised. All right, folks, back to where we left off. I'm going to sit down a little bit lower. Please excuse me. This hurts my legs like they're asleep. Oh, and I did something to my shoulder. It sucks getting old. All right, here we go. So, where we left off, right? Behold the ugly mug. The prevalence of SIB and NDD is high as 50% in ASD, a population representing a subset of all patients with SIB and AB. In other words, we represent a subset of individuals, a group of people, but we are by far and large not the only ones who engage in this type of behavior. Look outside, folks. There is a lot of neurotypical behaviors that have been deemed deemed acceptable by society, but can be technically fall under self-injurious behavior or aggressive behavior. If you don't believe me, have you seen the hellscape that is our political sphere right now? How it has not come to blows already, I don't know. That might actually be some form of modern miracle, is all I'm saying. Because we got a lot of frothing mouths barking at each other and getting nothing done. But let's continue. You don't want to hear my political opinions. Specifically, Respirodol or Respiridone is FDA approved for the treatment of irritability associated with autistic disorder, including symptoms of aggression towards others, deliberate self-injurious or temper tantrums, and quirky changing moods. Okay, for the love of God, I'm tired of people saying, you're just throwing a temper tantrum because you didn't get your way. And hear me on this, people. It could just be that we are having that reaction because we are exhausted, because you force us to mask 24/7. And if that mask slips even the smallest bit due to that exhaustion, you then insert yourselves 6 inches up our rectum and do nothing but criticize everything we do. That's going to provoke resentment, kids. Okay? It's not throwing a temper tantrum when we have a meltdown. Let me tell you the difference. A meltdown is an involuntary, violent reaction to being completely overwhelmed, usually on multiple fronts. It is not a behavior we control or willfully go into. For me, it's like watching a car crash in slow-mo. I know it's going to happen. I know there's nothing I can prevent it. Or like a bug flying to a bug zapper. Don't go into the light, I can't help it. A temper tantrum is willful, defiant behavior. Okay? There is a massive difference here. And the fact that we still, in medicine, will still call a lot of meltdowns temper tantrums because we just didn't get our way. Want to know why current programs aren't addressing everything as they should? They still, to this day, don't understand our motivations. Not because we haven't been talking, but because they don't give a shit what we have to say. They are so secure in their wrongful opinions that anyone who dares challenge them, they immediately start appealing to authority and shouting us down. All right? Meltdowns are not temper tantrums. It is not willful behavior. We are not throwing a fit because we didn't get our way. Are you kidding me? We are born into a world not built for us. Believe me when I say we got the memo. All right? We got to get this stupidity out of medicine. Okay? Meltdowns are not temper tantrums because it's not willful behavior that we choose to engage in because we're spoiled little brats. You want to know what a temper tantrum looks like? It looks like what's going on every single night on the news because everyone has lost their political minds. Those are temper tantrums. What I do when I am utterly exhausted on all fronts with zero support is I go into unwillful animalistic like behavior. It's not something I choose and willingly go forth to do. More often than not, I will try everything in my power: supplements, medication. I got the massage chair that this computer's sitting on for a reason. But sometimes there's no stopping it. Again, it's the slow car crash, right? You can try to minimize the fallout, but that's pretty much it. A tantrum is willful, defiant behavior. It's done as a means to gain attention, to express disapproval, even a manipulation tactic that a lot of kids use, especially today, to get mommy and daddy to let them do something. Okay? Have I talked to you about my mother? At no point in time would I ever engage in a temper tantrum. That woman put the fear of God into me at a very young age. Sorry I had to go off on that because God, it's old. The quickly changing moods can often be what people call quickly changing moods is suddenly I've stopped even remotely trying to be neurotypical. And sometimes you have to because you're exhausted. But suddenly your mood changed and you're not the same person. No shit, Sherlock. I'm too exhausted to maintain the mask for your, not mine, your comfort. Okay? Jeez. Let's continue, shall we? As described in the proposed rule, Abilify has also been approved by the ADA for the treatment of irritability associated with autistic disorder in children. There is an irritability, folks, but the fact that people are mystified that it exists is what makes no coherent sense to me. Neurotypicals walk with me down this little path here. Now imagine we are in an alternate universe. Okay, we're in an alternate universe, right? And it is atypical brains as opposed to neurotypical brains that are the majority. Okay? You're the minority in this, right? And the world has been built by and for neurodivergent folk, not for you. Would there not be some irritability due to navigating a world not built for you and having conditions and shit set above you that you have to do? It gets old, okay? You would be every bit as irritated as we are. Irritation in me is usually one of the big major red flag signs that I may be heading for a meltdown. It is a symptom of complete, utter psychological, emotional, and physical exhaustion and being overwhelmed. Okay? Just saying. Now, that being said, assistance with helping us deal with that irritability so that we can utilize our treatment program to the best of our ability is a boon, folks, especially in a world that's not built for us. We need all the help we can get. As explained in the FDA approved labeling for Abilify, the efficacy of Abilify in the treatment of irritability associated with autistic disorder was established in two 8-week placebo controlled trials in pediatric patients 6 to 17 years of age who met the DSM 4 criteria for autistic disorder and demonstrated behaviors such as tantrums, aggression, self injurious behavior, or a combination of these problems. FDA, if you don't stop calling meltdowns temper tantrums, you're about to see one. Okay? It's just a temper tantrum for attention. What in the name of God makes you think I want your attention? Nobody has yet to been adequately able to explain that to me. Both Abilify and Respirado met their primary efficacy endpoint by demonstrating statistically significant changes in the score on the aberrant behavior checklist, irritability scale, which is one of the most common used scale to measure SIB and AB in drug development programs. Thus, the comment is incorrect that no drugs have been proven effective for SIB or AB in any population. It's also, when you read through this, you can see it's used as a supplement to the rest of the treatment program. It's not an end all and be all of itself. I wanted to explain exactly where that irritability comes from because what ABA and the medical model tries to tell you it is absolutely 100% wrong. That being said, irritability due to exhaustion, due to legitimately being stuck in a world where it's not built for me, and everybody insists that I push myself beyond the point of reason, pretend I'm neurotypical, I'm going to be irritated. Wouldn't you be irritated? You know, eventually the mask's going to slip. Or as I like to say, I can only be the doll for so long. You know? which is one of the most commonly used scales. Yeah, we kind of gone over that, right? So A, everything the JRC thinks medication does is wrong. Who's surprised? No one. Number two, there are still glaring issues within what is considered the current standard of care because the neurotypical medical model continues to refuse to wrap their brains around the idea that what may motivate them to engage in similar behaviors is not going to be the same as to why we go into them. The idea that there's motivation, period, is the problem. What motivation could I possibly have to go into a meltdown that is going to utterly drain me and end up with half my apartment destroyed with very expensive shit that I suddenly have to replace? What possible benefit do you think that I can get out of that? Exactly. Temper tantrums are willful, meltdowns are not willful. I know they're going to happen, in spite of the fact that I have successfully brought me down most majority days to a baseline, but it's not something I willfully go into. There is no ulterior motivation behind it. I gain nothing. But what its function? It doesn't. Okay. There is no function behind a meltdown. A meltdown is the aftermath of being overwhelmed on all fronts. It's not motivation. It's not willful. Okay? Just saying. We're going to go ahead and close out, but I do want to make this point. As long as we have this bad medicine, this idea of assuming you know why these meltdowns are happening, and you continue to tell us that our meltdowns are willful behavior, and that places like the JRC are going to continue on with their ancient pseudoscience. You get where I'm going here, right? As long as we continue on this stupidity and closing autistic people and other neurodivergent people out of the conversation in regards to our own goddamn diagnosis, places like the JRC are going to be able to continue to linger on. Neurotypicals should not be held up as the standard and put on a pedestal for all of us to obtain to. First of all, the idea of the neurotypical that is put up before us and dangled like a carrot is false. A fan fiction that in no way, shape, or form actually resembles in any way reality. Help us to get to that baseline. Stop forcing us to be people that we're not. Start realizing that the best way to start a treatment program is come in, starting with the premise that you know nothing. Shut your mouth for 5 seconds. I don't care how many degrees you have. They do not make you omnipotent. And listen when we tell you things in regards to what brings on those behaviors that freak you out so badly and cause you to vilify every single step that we take. We're going to close on that, folks. We don't get very many views on this channel, and the few we do get to get removed from time to time. You know the drill. Please don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe. Please don't forget to utilize those comments. I appreciate your time, folks. As always, we here at Spilling Tea hope you have a good one. I'll see you in a few minutes. Bye-bye, everyone.